Hi. So my field experience week was so much more than I expected it to be. I didn't think I would learn as much as I did, but I was very grateful of all the things I learned and my wonderful teacher that I got paired with. For component one of our assignment, we were supposed to have an interview with our teacher and see which students had disabilities, IEPs, and 504 plans. So upon walking in my room, I was like, I'll probably have, three or four. And when I asked my teacher, her first response was, well, kindergartners usually don't have IEPs or 504 plans yet because they're so young. But thankfully, she had a student named Solon who came from pre-K with an IEP. And so I was like, okay. And so I continued to ask her, what's it for? What do you do for him? So questions like that. And I learned that Solon is developmentally delayed, which I had no idea what that meant. Excuse me. So, kind of brushed off my shoulder, and I was like, okay, we continued talking, what she does. He gets pulled a lot for one-on-one, so if she's doing a whole group lesson, the TA pulls him to the side, or she has a helper from the local high school that comes twice a week, and she'll pull him, or for me this week, I had to pull him during that time, which was twice a day. During that time, we did a lot of different activities. His favorite was, he had a pile of objects, and you had to match them by beginning sounds. So if he picked up a gorilla, he had to say, gorilla, G, and he'd have to put it in the G container, and then there was an H container, and so on. We focused on F, G, H, and I. Focused, but we did work with all the letters just to see where he was at and which ones he did know, which was kind of interesting that he knew S and T, but he didn't know D, and he didn't know J. He gets G and J confused. And we also played Pop the Pig and Connect 4, which I know what Connect 4 is, but I was like, what in the world is Pop the Pig? And I learned very quickly. He was like, oh, this is how you play it. Which it was kind of fun because you put the pieces in the pig's mouth, and once he has so many, he pops. And in both those games, to play your piece, you have to say the letter that's on it and what sound it makes. But with Connect 4, I also did, if he knew the letter, and if he did know the sound, if he could give me a word. Like B, bat, as an example. And he actually did a few of them, and I was kind of surprised. Like for L, he went L. And then he said, lollipop? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes! Because that's such a big word for a kindergartner. So I was very impressed, and throughout the week, it just got better and better and better. I think the repetition and routine for him works very well. And we also have a notebook that we write down his progress every day. So it's kind of cool to look back that yesterday he may not have known the letter C, for example, but today he does. So it's kind of cool. Component 2, the teacher's perspective, she is very confident in what she does. She's been doing it for almost 20 years. So she has it down pat of what works and what doesn't work. And she even told me it depends on her students, when she first meets them, how she is going to go about the structure of her classroom. So in my opinion, I noticed the moment that she did whole group, I was like, oh boy, they're on the carpet, they're going to be loud, they're going to be crazy, they're not going to pay attention. And I was wrong. I was very blown away that it's interactive, and she has sticks, and she pulls names, and the kids get to come to the board. She makes it short, sweet, simple, that they learn the lesson, And then they have the work that they have to go to their desk and do. And once everyone's done, they come back to the carpet and they do something else. Which I think is great because not only are they not sitting for a long period of time, they're moving around and getting their blood flowing, so their brain is constantly working. For her behavior, she has a system called Fuzzies. And for different tasks, you obtain Fuzzies. And on every Friday, there's moms that come in and they count the Fuzzies for each student. And depending on that is how many coupons they can get. And different coupons are for different things. So if you have 20 Fuzzies, you can get coupons for holding the American flag, a homework pass, show and tell, stuff like that. And then you also have 50 Fuzzies, which is like lunch with a teacher, or you get to pick a book to read, and things like that, which I thought was very cool. But if you got your Fuzzies taken away for doing something you weren't supposed to, she always asks, what rule did you break? And every morning they read their classroom rules. So the students all know, oh, I broke this rule. And they say that rule, and she says, so you understand why I took a Fuzzy. And then she also has a behavior chart, which is green, yellow, orange, and red. And only one time during the week did one student get on orange, and that's when a note goes home to the parent. And she sat down with that student and discussed, what's my train of thought? Oh, she discussed what he did wrong and why he was getting a note written home and what it was about. And the student completely understood. I think her instruction and behavior plans based on a checklist are just phenomenal. She does everything, it seems, by the book. It's like she never skips a beat. She's always on it. If the kids don't understand, she fixes it right away. Or if they caught on to something, she has a backup so she doesn't waste time. Because class time is very, very valuable. Component 3, the school improvement plan. I was blown away when I went to the school and she told me she had 998 students in her school. I was like, holy cow. But the NC report card said they have 876, which both numbers are double the district and the state numbers. And I was like, whoo, because I actually went to this school when I was younger. And I remember it was a very, very popular school at the time. And I get to this day, it still is. People are moving to the area because they want to go to these great schools because you have such a great education. And she said they planned on expanding, so I don't know how much bigger they plan on getting, but they have built a wing onto the school just to have a whole other hallway, which I thought was crazy. And they also have student success goals. They have 3 of them, and they literally fall right into place with everything that you experience from the moment you walk in the door. Everyone is so nice. They're so focused on the kids' education. They don't really have behavior problems. And if they do, the students learn very quickly that they don't put up with it. So, which I think is a really good thing because that doesn't disrupt their learning. And the school has such a positive energy. And they have so many different partnerships. And they're constantly doing different things like, oh, we're going to have Spirit Night at Chick-fil-A. And it's kind of like, wow, you know, like you get to do stuff about school outside of school to not only benefit what you are getting out of the school, but it shows the school that you care. The parent reflection, I got to experience media night, which was on a Wednesday. And there was free pizza, and parents could bring their students, and they could read AR books and take AR tests, or sit with teachers and read, and all kinds of stuff. And it was really cool because Honeycutt's very big on AR testing. So if you were falling behind, you needed, 3 extra points. You can go and read with an adult and take a book that night to make sure that you met your AR goal. Which is really cool because that's such a huge thing at Honeycutt. And I also, Friday afternoon, got to meet a student's mother, and I got to speak with her. And it was kind of cool because she was telling me, like, how great of a teacher I was paired with, and her son has been learning so much, and he comes home and talks about the Great Depression. And I'm like, he really went home and talked about that? Because when she taught it, I was like, this is such a boring topic. Why would kindergartners need to learn this? But they were so intrigued, and they're like, oh, tell us more. And asking so many questions. And it was so cool that a parent was able to have that conversation with her child about, like, oh, what'd you learn today? Oh, hey, Mom, I learned about the Great Depression. Like, that was just so cool. But overall, my initial impressions, I was like, wow, this class was quiet, and it seemed like she had it together, and I still felt that way at the end of the week. Like, the kids listened every beep she said. She does a thing where she says, give me 5, give me 10, hands in your lap, so that she has their attention. Every single time, all the students do it. And it was kind of cool to see all the different things she does, even for the students who don't have a labeled disability, but she could see was struggling. She still treated them just like everyone else. She pulled them for different things, or she'd make their assignments a little bit easier. Well, not easier, but she would make accommodations for them because she knew they wouldn't be able to complete what everyone else is when they can hardly read. So it was really cool to see what she does as a teacher to help those students that are struggling no matter what the subject area. And she made it not so out there. It's not like, oh, everyone knows that Solon doesn't know what he's doing. She doesn't make it like that. Like, everyone thinks he's just like everyone else, which is so cool because you don't want to be labeled as that kid. And you don't want, as a parent, you don't want someone to say, oh, that kid. No, he's just like everyone else. You wouldn't be able to tell if you walked in the classroom, which I really loved. Field Experience Week was phenomenal, probably the best part of the entire semester, and I learned so much during this week that I wouldn't have learned just sitting in a class and reading out of a textbook.